Hello friends. All right, I thought I'd do a quick little demo of all of the Bill Graham rules, well, the Barry Harris rules as he explains them, the half-step rules. So first, just touch and bass. We're going to start in the key of F. All right, so again, just find that, sing it, make those notes, make those sounds. Okay, so the concept that Barry Harris through Bill Graham works through is on the basis of this sound, all right, and what we're going to call a dominant scale. All right, so if F is our home bass, we're going to go down and descend like this. Okay, so note that it's just an F major scale except with a lowered seventh. So we call that a dominant scale because it is basically the fifth mode of what I'm not thinking. Fifth mode of is that B flat major? Yeah, of B flat major. Okay, so all right. So dominant means 5. Whatever chord scale, don't worry about that. Just know that we call this a dominant scale. Most often, and for all of our intents and purposes, we just go down that scale. Go ahead and play it. So going down the F dominant scale, 1 and ready, play. That's what is it? This beginning of Silencio Delivered. Good way to remember it. The first half-step rule that we're going to apply to this, and we're just learn this as a thing. Don't worry about the context for now. We're going to add a half step between the root and that 7. So in the case of the way we're thinking of this in a dominant scale, it's a flat 7. So we're just adding back in the major 7. Try that. 1 and ready, play. Cool thing about this is that we get a chord tone on all of the strong beats if we're thinking about this as eighth notes. So it's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And the chord tones are 1, 7, 5, 3, 1, which in good improvisational practice, we're emphasizing those chord tones. We're developing an eighth note flow. That's sort of one of the goals of plugging in phrases like this, is so that we get a ready to use lick that gives us eighth note flow for an entire bar of 4/4 time. Cool. Doesn't that sound fun? Let's do that one more time. So 1 and ready, play. All right, so it's 1, 7, flat 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this is rule number 1. Half-step rule number 1 is that when you start on the root, 3rd, 5th, or 7th, you can add a half step between 1 and 7. So do the same thing. It's going to be exact same notes, but start on the 3rd. And so I'm going to play, that's our home bass, our Fs. Give that a shot. So that's still, it's 3, 2, 1, 7, flat 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Whatever, just do what it sounds like. All right, see if we can play it. 1 and ready, play. All right, so that's rule number 1 starting on the 3rd. Rule number 1 starting on the 5th sounds like this. Try playing that. 1 and ready, play. Cool. All right, so that's starting on the root, 3rd, 5th, start on the 7th. Again, same notes, but starting on the 7th. 1 and ready, play. All again, great way, as we are wont to do, we want to get these in our ears and in our bodies. And so just take it at whatever pace is comfortable. And you don't have to do all of these at once, but we can put them back to back. Singing them is also encouraged. But let's see if we can go through, and we're going to play. This is rule number 1, means a half step between root and 7th, and we can start this on 1, 3, 5, or 7. Rule number 1. So let's take it slow. I'm going to go in sequence, and then we'll do a version that's a little faster. So 1 and start on the root. Start on the 3rd and start on the 5th and start on the 7th. Yeah. Let's take about like ba ba da 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 da. Same sequence. So 1 and ready, go. Start on the 3rd. Start on the 5th. On the 7th. Cool. So that's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is that you can start on scale degree 2, 4, or 6, and you can add no half steps. All right, so we're just going down that dominant scale. Remember the original dominant scale? Yep, signed, sealed, delivered. All right, so same notes, but start on 2. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and here we're going to go all the way to the root. So this we're aiming for a complete 1-bar phrase: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. We want to resolve it. Even though in bebop, and a lot of heads, we have a lot of kind of musical commas, like the syncopation ending on an and a 4 or something like that. In case of this, we're going for a full period sentence. Try that. So this is rule number 2, no half steps. So starting on scale degree 2. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3. Note the chord tones we're hitting here are now 9. In terms of chord tone talk, 2 and 9 as scale degrees are interchangeable. Usually we'll hear in jazz at least talk of this as being 9, the 9th as a chord tone. That works as well. So we have 9, 7, 5, 3, 1. All right, so start on the 4th. Try it. 1 and ready, go. Cool. No half steps. Start on the 6th. There we are. 1, 2, ready, go. Cool. A little faster. 1 and 2 and ready and go. And all right. So rule 2 applies to starting on the 2nd, 4th, or 6th. There's an addendum to this one. Like part 2, you can also, instead of adding no half steps, add 2 sets of half steps. So between the root and 7th, but also between 2 and 1. Cool, all right? So that again applies to scale degree 2, scale degree 4, scale degree 6. Let's take those one at a time, a little slower. So this is, we're adding 2 half steps. 1 and ready, 2nd. Start on the 4th. Here we go. And start on the 6th. Go. Cool. All right. So you're starting to notice that the reason that these apply to certain ones is that if we, go any further, we're going to run out of that nice detail that we're adding in, right? So in this case, we end with that series of chromatic notes at the bottom. Okay, so that's rule number 2. Either no half steps or 2 sets of half steps. Rule number 3, this applies not to the root. So anytime you start on the root, it's only rule 1. But this can apply to the 3rd, starting on the 3rd, 5th, or 7th. So in addition to rule number 1, we can add 3 sets of half steps. So this is just, we're building on what we had before. So starting on the 3rd, so it's between 3 and 2, 2 and 1, 1 and 7. Try that. Ba ba da. 1 and ready, go. All right, start it on the 5th. 1 and ready, go. Okay, start on the 7th, go. See if you can do those in sequence a little faster. So we're going to start on the 3rd, 5th, and 7th. 1 and ready, go. Cool. All right, so that's rule 1, 2, and 3. Let's see if we can go through all of them in sequence. We'll go through it slow, and then we'll go through it fast. So rule number 1, just starting on 1, 3, 5, and 7, 1 set of half steps. So 1, 2, and ready, and go. And start it on the 3rd, and start it on the 5th, please. And on the 7th, and cool. Let's go a little faster. 1, 2, ready, and number 2. So 1 and 2 and ready and go. And all right, I'll do the one with no half steps first. That's what I'm going to do. 2, ready, go. Start on the 4th and okay, so go back, start it on the 2nd. But we're going to do 2 sets of half steps. 1, 2, ready, go. Start it on the 4th. And on the 6th, go. Same sequence, a little faster. 1, 2, ready, and my bad. 1, 2, start on the 6th, go. Cool, so that's rule 2. Rule 3, 3 sets of half steps. 2 half steps in rule 2. It's like it's a sequence. It's like a numerical sequence. All right, so 3, starting on the 3rd, 5th, or 7th, 3 sets of half steps. Let's start that. 1, 2, ready, go. Start on the 5th. A little faster. 1, 2, 3, and cool. All right, so we'll go through all of that. We'll do one time through slow, one time through fast. Okay. So remember, we're just trying to get these in our ears as melodies. Yeah, I think that's something I'm using more often. Try not to think about key signatures. Just think about, like, first of all, what does it sound like? Do you have it in your ears enough that you can tell when you're not playing a right note or your fingers aren't executing what your ears are doing? Like, that's what we're going for first off. We know what it sounds like. and then we know what it plays like. All right, and then later on we know what it theories like. So don't worry, I've added in numbers at a certain point for understanding it, but like we're just playing it. All right, so let's see if we can get it. All right, so rule one, 1, 2, ready, and start in the third and fifth, seventh. All right, rule number 2, no half steps. 1, 2, 3, and fourth. Start in the sixth. 2 sets of half steps. Start in the sixth. Oh wait, what did I do there? Let's see. Okay, yep. Let's do that one again. 1, 2, 6th, and. All right, rule 3, 2, 3, go. Cool. All right. Now just take that through all 12 keys. I mean, like, first of all, do it in one key. I mean, for what we're working on in our class, I purposely did it in F because there aren't, it's at least visually, and I mean, that transposes pretty good because we're doing it in F for concert instruments, we're doing it in G for B flat instruments, and we're doing it in D dominant for E flat friends, and in C for anybody who's doing the transposition of a fourth. So hopefully that is useful. Do it in an easy key, get it in your ear first, and then try transposing it to some other keys. Around the circle of fourths is probably the most straightforward way to go. And eventually if you can get that all going, so you're just doing that in sequence, that's gonna be great. But work on this knowing that the dominant scale, it's signed, sealed, delivered. And the Barry-Harris rule number 1 is 1 set of half steps. Rule number 2 is either no half steps or 2 sets of half steps. And rule 3 is 3 half steps. All right.